Hello everyone. Before we get into the finale, let me tell you what this video is not. This is not about Jack Dorsey cutting 4,000 people at Block and the stock surging 23%. This is also not about Anthropic getting blacklisted by federal agencies for saying no to the Pentagon. And this is not about DeepSeek dropping a trillion parameter model on Chinese chips that might erase another $600 billion from Nvidia's market cap this week. This is not a financial advice. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm definitely not a pilot. And this is not another Friday night breaking news hot take video telling you how to ride the latest AI trend before the market opens on Monday. But here's what's interesting about all three of those stories. Everyone is acting. Dorsey is making a workforce bet. Pentagon is making a geopolitical bet. DeepSeek is making a market bet. At the macro level, workforce shifts, geo shifts, market shifts. The entire world is acting on AI right now. And the question that nobody's in those headlines is really answering concerns me. And it touches acting based on what? That's a huge question. That's the thesis. Because here's what I know. 56% of CEOs report zero financial return from AI. And roughly 80% of companies haven't redesigned a single role based on what AI can actually do. The real work, the work that actually compounds, doesn't happen in the headlines. It happens when you follow a framework. See what you have, measure what matters, decide with data, and act with discipline. That's what this episode is about. And it's the most important one. Episode 4, Act. The finale of See, Measure, Decide, Act. You ran the audit, found 3 to 5x more AI than IT knew existed. You built the measurement architecture, 2 layers, real numbers. Applied 30 to 45-day framework, scale, optimize, or kill. Now, how do you scale it? Get the CFO to fund it and build the muscle that makes every deployment faster. 3 frameworks. Let's go. Every AI initiative lives or dies in one meeting, and most teams blow it. They walk in with a demo, 47 slides on capabilities. The CFO asks, what happens to my P&L this quarter? And the room goes quiet. That's the Block problem, by the way. Wall Street rewarded a $500 million workforce bet, but Block's own SEC filing, submitted days before, says the AI replacing those people may not perform as expected. That's what acting without measurement infrastructure looks like at scale. Bold move though. No data underneath. Your CFO conversation, however, should look different. Here's the framework. Step 1. Lead with operational economics, not technology. The $250,000 voice agent from episode 2. Lead with AI agent generating $250,000 in revenue over 30 days. Here's the cost, the margin. Here's what happens when we scale to 3 more units. That's a P&L conversation that gets funded. Step 2, show the counterfactual. What does the world look like without this AI? Without the compliance agent, we need 2.5 additional FTEs at $72,000 each, plus 340 hours of manual review delaying audits by 3 weeks. The CFO doesn't just hear what you save, they hear what they lose by not scaling. Step 3, scaling math with conservative assumptions. $264,000 in 1 unit, AI voice agent. 8 similar units at 60% efficiency, $1.3 million year 1. Investment, $520,000, net close to 2.5x. Not an AI is transformative math. None of those. Step 4, 90-day measurable gates. Deploy to 3 units in Q2. Hit 70% of projected ROI by day 60. We expand. If not, we optimize first. CFOs approved measured expansion, not blank checks. That's the difference between acting like block, hope the AI works, restructure first, measure later, and acting with the framework. Prove value, then scale with data. And honestly, if block is following this approach internally, they will be fine. And if they are not, they told us themselves in the SEC filing, it might not work. So, budgets approved. Now, the mistake most organizations make. They take the technology that worked in one team and drop it into another team and wonder why it underperforms. Every successful AI deployment has 5 elements: workflow design, data pipeline, governance framework, training protocol, measurement architecture. Clone all 5, 70 to 80% of original performance in the new environment, most likely. Clone just the technology, 30%. That gap is where most scaling efforts die. 2 rules. Look for adjacent workflows, not identical ones. Voice agent work in outbound sales. Customer retention has a similar structure: outbound calls, qualification, follow-up sequences. The architecture transfers. The KPIs change. That's your expansion map. And every clone gets measurement from day 1. Same 2-layer model from episode 2. Same 30 to 45 day window from episode 3. We know it works. And it's not a measurement strategy. That's just the cycle that repeats. Here's what it compounds. First deployment, 4 to 6 weeks. Second, 3 to 4, you have the playbook. Third, 2 to 3, you have the playbook and proof points. By deployment 5 or 6, you've built organizational capability, not a collection of disconnected AI projects. That's how the top enterprises are acting right now. Not with headlines, but rather with repeatable frameworks. Last piece. What turns a one-time scaling push into a sustainable AI operating model? Well, really 3 cadences. Monthly, portfolio review, every initiative against its success KPIs, data review, not the demo. This catches drift pilots, by the way, before they cost you 6 figures. Quarterly, CFO update, AI portfolio presented in the language of operational economics. Not a tech review, a business performance review. AI treated like any other capital allocation decision. While the rest of the market is reaching to headlines, who got laid off, which model dropped, who got blacklisted, your organization is reviewing actual performance data, making actual scaling decisions with actual evidence. That's the operating model that wins quietly. Finally, annually, strategy reset, go back to see, full audit. What entered the ecosystem? What shadow AI emerged? Your visibility decays if you don't refresh it. So monthly, quarterly, annually. And that's what separates 2 to 3 initiatives in production from 8 to 12 with repeatable model. That's honestly the full framework. See, measure, decide, act in one place. Look, the world is going to keep acting on AI. Workforce bets, geo bets, market bets. That's not going to slow down. And some of those bets will be brilliant, some won't. But the organizations that consistently win aren't the ones making the biggest bets. They are the ones who actually know what they are betting on. Because they did the work. They followed the framework. They acted with data, not with hope. That's what this series was about. So DM me playbook if you haven't yet gotten one. And I'm very happy to share the full 4-phase document with you directly as well. The metrics for the top 50 agentic AI metrics guide that I recently put together. And as always, thanks for following all our episodes. And the framework is yours. Go and use it. Cheers.